Right, welcome back, everybody, and let's quickly take a look at our trending topics. And topping the list this morning, of course, is the trend, rest in peace, Jessie Duarte. And sad news coming out yesterday as we learnt of the passing of Jessie Duarte, the Deputy Secretary General. And of course, her funeral was held. She was laid to rest yesterday. The President gave the eulogy, and family and close colleagues and friends got to say goodbye. And that is, a quick farewell. But this week has been dedicated, as we've been running in the news, to the late Jessie Duarte. And of course, messages of condolences have been coming in far and wide, and people just talking to her history with the party and the struggle against apartheid and how she has been there every step of the way. So it really is something that we are going to be talking to a little bit later on as well in the program. And yeah, just very, very sad. And of course, this whole week, as I mentioned, will be dedicated to the late Secretary General.
Indeed, Leanne. And no doubt we'll hear a lot more because of the significant role that Yasmin Jessie Duarte played in the liberation struggle, and of course continue to play in her beloved ANC.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the other things that stood out for me yesterday was just the genuine grief that seemed to have gripped those who were close to her, members of the party. It kind of took me back to Chris Hani, 1993. And you saw that raw outpouring of emotion. And I think I haven't quite seen that
in a while.
In a while. And
yeah,
yesterday, I just got that sense that people were genuinely touched and hurt by her departure.
Yeah, very, very sad moment indeed. It really is. We know that she hasn't been well for quite some time, but I suppose when that moment does come, it always does take people by, I suppose, just it grabs you, and you remember the person that was. And 68 years old, still pretty young in the greater scheme of things. But of course, this all happened so fast, and we did get a press, I think it was just a quick snippet, a release on Friday from the ANC saying, please keep Jessie Duarte in your prayers, and just we thinking of her and strength and family. And then, of course, on Sunday, that news in the early hours of the morning coming through that she had passed away. So really, obviously fighting this, but just ultimately succumbing to cancer. But remember, on Thursday, there is going to be a mass memorial service, so that's something that we will bring to you as well.
And then, the thing about Jessie Duarte is, even though she's had, run-ins with so many people in the media, I was actually looking yesterday and reading a message that she had sent me, because that was the character of the woman. I remember there was a report on something that she had said, and I basically invoked that in an interview that I was doing. And she wrote to me. She wrote me a whole paragraph explaining to me the context and what she had meant, what she was saying, and what the broader message was. And that was Jessie.
Yeah.
Even if you had a run-in with her, it was never personal. At least I never got the feeling that it was personal.
Yeah.
It was all in the run of doing what you were doing. And you move on.
Amazing. We'll talk more about it. We certainly will. This short little prowess, that much we can tell you. She'd walk in and take over, and you felt her presence. All right. The next trending topic, of course, is mass shooting. What
another
a weekend!
One.
Another weekend.
Or another few.
This is like what? I mean, this is just going on and on and on. I mean, I just think we had some terrible mass shooting. Well, Khayelitsha, Lenasia, Kestal this weekend. They're just
crazy.
It's just been insane, the amount of people that have been killed, and in these mass shootings. Just awful. Following on from Alexandra, following on from just a whole bunch of incidents that we've been seeing and reporting on lately.
But you see, the thing is, it's not something new. These things have been happening. We've been talking for the longest time every Monday about mass shootings on the Cape Flats. And these things have been happening for the longest time, but now we are focusing, we zooming in on what is actually happening. But I suppose the bigger point here is that something needs to be done.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, it's devastating. Now, Masemola is also trending as well, and that has to do with this. And that's, of course, the National Police Commissioner General, Fani Masemola. I mean, he's coming out and saying that he doesn't believe in any way that the shooting sprees in the country are coordinated attacks. That's one thing he is saying. He's just saying there's been no relations between the incidents, but they're doing everything to ensure that they, come to an end, and that they try and make sure that these don't happen. He's saying that these are individual events, they're incidents that are happening, and they're just desperately trying to track down the suspects. But I don't know if that's good enough. I really don't, because it just, before we know it, another one is going to happen later this afternoon. It just doesn't stop, these incidents of mass shootings. So, yeah, that's under the spotlight right now, and that's a big trending topic.
All right, let's move on. The next one is Nhlanhla Lux. And Nhlanhla Lux, so this was an interesting one over the weekend. Nhlanhla Lux, during some of the social media snippets that we saw doing the rounds, and a tweet that he sent out really put the cat amongst the pigeons. So let me read what he says in his tweet. He says, "Let me repeat this. I don't have a problem with foreigners, especially African foreigners. I have a problem with undocumented foreigners. If the war is against all foreigners, then count me out. If not partaking in leadership corruption makes you a sellout, then undizi." So, seems as though there's some discontent within the ranks of the Dudula movement. But then many came out to say, well, actually, Dudula is not Nhlanhla Lux. This is not his baby. It was there before him. It will continue after him. And many feeling that he is a sellout at this point.
Wow. All right. So Nhlanhla Lux trending every other day. That goes without say. This was trending early this morning, our final one, Uvalde massacre. And it just something was pretty much so, they're coming out and just talking very much so about how the Texas police really did fail in this particular incident of the Uvalde massacre. And they're saying 400 trained law enforcement professionals couldn't stop one 18-year-old lunatic for 77 minutes. And people are just absolutely appalled by this and devastated by what was going on. So
they've released the footage of what actually happened during that particular massacre, and you see the police officers coming in, and at one point they try to get to the classroom, and there's gunfire by the gunmen, and they move back. But it's literally hours that go by before they actually summon the courage to go in. So that is causing, major talking points.
Unbelievable. And the pictures and stills that are coming from there, just devastating to see the people and the amount of people when we're talking about 400 against, and at the end of the day, 19 people, 19 children losing their lives on that one. I think the police, obviously the police chief has been asked to step down or has stepped down or whatever the case may be, but that's big findings coming out this weekend from that murder. All right, we've got to quickly move on to the question of the day now, and as you know, it is Mandela Day. The theme this year, do what you can with what you have. So we're asking, what will your contribution be, those 67 minutes or whatever it is that you are going to be doing on Nelson Mandela Day? What is it? If you'd like to share it with us, please do at Morning Live, SABC.
Right, and coming up next, the newly elected General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, Solly Mapaila, is here, and he'll be in conversation with Leanne after this break.